sometimes they may be slow to respond in conversations or to process information. Can I see the raise of hands? How many of us? Yes, so that's actually all of us. Wow, all the videos on. Right. So that is what it is. Memory, attention, language, processing of information, all of these are a part of what we call as cognition, which is one of the most important processes of our brain. Okay, cognition is what you are using right now to listen to me, understand what I'm saying, and get back to me with your nods and your raising of hands, right? Cognition is really essential. In fact, there's growing research which tells us now that with people who have poor cognitive performance, there's a higher risk of experiencing depression, social withdrawal, or even dependence for that matter. So cognition is important, okay? Now the question is, and trust me, this will blow your mind. Again, I'll ask you all to participate here. Knowing that cognitive concerns amongst our elderly is so common, we all raised our hands here. How many of us have actually seen our grandparents, our elders, or ourselves take actions to look after our cognitive health, our brain health? For example, taken part in cognitive evaluations, or gone for an intervention, or even learned simple memory techniques to enhance our memory and to help us remember information better. How many of us, yes or no? Thumbs up or down? Let's see. Down. Yeah, very common, isn't it? So why is this? Because there is a very popular and false notion that the cognitive impairments that we experience as we age are permanent and that we can do nothing to improve them. Unfortunately, the massive potential of our brain is often ignored. In India, there is a glaring lack of acknowledgement of the mental and cognitive healthcare needs of our senior citizens, a country which has more than 4 million people suffering from dementia, according to the India Dementia Report 2020, and you'll be shocked with these stats, okay? We have only 10 daycare centers, 100 memory clinics, and 6 residential care facilities across India. The available resources and information is grossly inadequate to meet the rising demand. So now that we're on the same page, I'm going to take you back to a story, which is with my aunt. And that's when I came back in 2017 from London after doing my graduation in cognitive neuroscience. And I met her after 1.5 years. And I noticed that she was no longer as cognitively, socially, or physically active as she used to be. And she was often complaining of forgetfulness every now and then. So coming from a neuroscience background, I could understand that there were certain cognitive processes which were probably contributing to her concerns. And now to make it more easy for all of you, I will simplify these 3 processes so that we can understand what happens in our brain as we age, and then how can we take actions to improve our cognitive health. Okay, so I'll make it really simple for everyone, I promise. It'll have a little bit of neuroscience, but really simple. So, our brain has billions and billions of tiny cells called neurons. And these neurons are constantly connecting with each other and helping us to function in our daily lives. Okay, so as we interact with our environment, we make friends, we study, we work, we learn information. These cells begin to build networks, like this blue image, okay? They build networks in our brain, and the networks of thinking, processing, reasoning, memory, orientation, they become stronger with time. Now, as we grow older and the opportunities to stay cognitively and physically active decline, especially when we're above 60 years of age, then these networks, they tend to become weaker and slowly they die away, because we don't use those networks as often anymore. This process is called neurodegeneration, the degeneration of our cells. Okay. The second one is immunosenescence, which means that our immune system is now gradually becoming weaker because of natural age advancement. And when our immune system is weak, we feel lethargic, we feel weak and tired, right? And then because of this, the cells which used to fight off infection are now attacking their own cells. And this leads to a chronic low-grade inflammation, which is called as inflammaging. So generally, findings are consistent that these 3 processes are what are associated with cognitive decline, and even dementia among the elderly. Besides this, there are also common risk factors which further worsen this cognitive decline. For example, a lack of exercise, low social engagement, high amounts of stress, isolation, low nutrition intake. Do these sound familiar to all of you? Yeah? Yes, because these are all common lifestyle factors among our elderly around us, aren't they? Especially during this pandemic, where they've been locked inside for so many months and so little to do. So that is what happens. Now, the question is, can we do something to support the healthy cognitive aging of our elders? Yes, we can. At an individual level, number one, I think it's our responsibility to educate ourselves about the importance of brain health, become aware of the resources available around us, and then encourage our elders to make the important healthy lifestyle changes. For example, can they engage in learning a new instrument? Can they join an art class? Can they learn stress management techniques, breathing techniques to help themselves? Right? The ultimate aim is to boost the immune system and to activate those neurons in the brain. Okay, that's the first thing. Second, at a more collective level, is a very upcoming and promising intervention, which is called cognitive stimulation training, okay, or CST. Now, CST is based on this brain's property of neuroplasticity. And neuroplasticity basically means that our brain is not rigid, it is not fixed. It can actually be changed, the structures and the functions can be changed and altered at any age, even in our old age. So essentially what happens is that in our brain, those billions of cells, as they get repeated exposure to enriching environments, new learning experiences and challenges, those networks I told you about, they become stronger, they begin to rewire and reorganize themselves, and they even generate new neurons, which then help us to function optimally. Okay, now this is the process, and the aim of CST then is to use these activities to be able to optimize our cognitive functions and also possibly reduce the cognitive losses that may occur as we grow older. So imagine this, okay? Imagine that your elders, your grandparents are going to a brain gym, as you can see on the screen. They're going to a brain gym, they're meeting a bunch of friends for a couple of weeks, and they're engaging in themed, structured, and scientifically based activities which target specific parts of their brain. And this helps in their memory, their attention, their orientation, language, communication, you name it. So the aim is just like for our body, we go to a gym, we increase our brain's muscles, we increase the flexibility and the stamina that we have in our brain cells. Isn't that exciting? Doesn't that make sense? Right? So now taking you back to the story with my aunt, knowing all this information, I really was motivated to help her out in some way with the forgetfulness. So I conducted some of the cognitive activities with her to see how it would help her. And you won't believe, through the entire journey, her face actually lit up. It's almost as if her brain was waiting for the chance to be activated, to be strategically woken up, like, hey, let's get working now. So that's where my journey with Be Neurofit, my venture, began. And I started to conduct large-scale workshops with senior citizens about the importance of brain health. And for those who reached out, I conducted cognitive stimulation training classes with them in a small library in an ashram in New Delhi. And from there, we've gradually grown now. And through our campaigns, our workshops, and our CST programs, we've reached out to more than 1,200 people. And this includes our senior citizens, patients with dementia, mild to moderate, their caregivers, and also the youth, people like all of you. And this journey has truly been so fulfilling. So I remember that, there was a time that in this journey, it was quite difficult as well, because there's this large stigma attached to healthcare for our elderly. But I think it's all about making the difference one step at a time. So since then, I think what I'll do now is I'll show you a small snippet of the first results that I ever received after a batch that I conducted. Okay. And let me just go back to that now. Here. So you can see a clear difference between the pre and the post-training results here. A marked difference between the fine motor skills involved, their understanding of the question. In the clock, you can see that the numbers that they have written, the numbers, the orientation, even that shows a marked difference, right? So when I first saw this, I actually got goosebumps. And the most interesting part here is that we don't practice these tasks of drawing a clock or of joining the dots. No. What we practice is that we practice the skills underneath it. We stimulate the brain parts that are working behind the scenes. And that's where all the scientific work happens. So there's plenty of research now which supports that cognitive training is actually very beneficial. For example, there's research at University College London, which has demonstrated through several trials that CST can improve your cognition and also your overall quality of life. And there was a recent research done at University of Padova in Italy. It was built on the same CST model developed by Professor Amy Spector at UCL. And what they found here was that, so what they did was they had 39 participants, and this is patients with mild to moderate dementia. They divided this group into two, and one group had the CST training, and the active control group had generalized activities. Okay, so they did not have the CST training. And what you can see here is that the CST group, the black line, they showed a significant sustenance in their cognitive abilities as compared to the active control group. And here you can see the CST group showed a robust decline in their depression and loneliness scale as compared to the active control group. And what the paper also tells us is that maybe because of the social group that they have of making friends and engaging with each other, that may have also enhanced the participants' mood and their motivation. Okay, so overall, the potential of CST is really promising. What we need is more research and awareness to support its efficacy, its generalizability, and the long-term benefits of CST among senior citizens in our country. Quite early on in my career, I realized that contributing in this field would be difficult, quite challenging, because of the large stigma attached with cognitive healthcare, and because people don't generally accept that we can actually improve our cognitive healthcare needs. There was a time in the beginning where I conducted a batch with only 3 people. And I had 2 ways to look at this. One was, oh my God, 3 people, how demotivating, let me give up now. The other way was, wow, these are 3 senior citizens who are willing to take care of their cognitive health, so let's support them. Like we saw in the beginning, small steps make a big difference. After every successful batch or workshop, when the participants step out, feeling more confident about their memory, their attention, and promising to take care of their brain health, and they come back with, making friends, motivating each other, and doing all their homework. Yes, we have homework in these classes. It's really sweet. The joy and satisfaction that I feel is beyond measure. So at the end of this 15 to 12 minute TEDx journey, I really hope that all of you feel a sense of ownership and responsibility to open lines of communication with your elders at home, to discuss the importance of brain health, to become aware of the resources available outside you, to encourage them to make the important lifestyle changes. And I also urge each one of you young, energetic minds to ask yourselves this one question. It doesn't matter what career you want to pursue. It could be science, healthcare, hospitality, law, anything at all. Just ask yourself this one question. How can I create and build an inclusive community for our senior citizens and create opportunities for them to contribute their vast amount of knowledge, their skills, and their expertise? Can we introduce open mic concerts, specialized consultancy services, or involve them in educating the underserved community through NGOs? The list is limitless. Let's think creatively, because we are the world and we create the world that we live in. So let's collectively unite our resources and ideas to make this difference in the lives of our senior citizens today, tomorrow, and for decades to come. Thank you.